Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is your tropical update for July 5th. We're currently watching severe tropical storm Beryl now making its way out of the Yucatan Peninsula towards Texas. Now, the models have shifted rather to the north. And as we've mentioned for probably a week at this point, the potential that this system, instead of hitting Mexico, turns north and parallels the coastline, making an unknown time of Texas landfall, not only an unknown time, but also an unknown exact location along the Texas coast. You see just about everywhere in this particular model ensemble probability of what's going on. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. Here is the impact map. As you can see, a high risk I've now issued for portions of the Texas coastline. That's mainly due to the potential for category 2 wins. We'll see if those occur. I'm going to be honest, I'm not buying that there's going to be category 2 wins, but there could be. In addition to that, another concern, because this system is going to be paralleling the coast, is storm surge. At this point, this Hurricane Center calling for 3 to 5 feet of storm surge, which does warrant that moderate orange color. And also rainfall is going to be concerned, 5 to 10 isolated to 15, hence that orange color. Expect increases in the spatial extent of that slight category into some of that low category within much of eastern Texas. And then minimal impacts possible as well. So again, a lot to talk about. The only thing to talk about, though, is Beryl. As you can see, its center moving off of the Yucatan Peninsula as we speak at the moment. That what remains of a core leaving the peninsula now and making its way into the Gulf of Mexico, where it will struggle, but it will eventually increase in strength. The National Hurricane Center calling for tropical storm strength possible all day tomorrow into the early morning of Sunday, and then it becomes a hurricane, and then it parallels the coastline, and then finally it makes landfall perhaps Monday afternoon. And remember, we were talking yesterday, if it were further to the south, it was maybe Sunday night, early Monday, somewhere like that. Now, because it has more time over water, it could get stronger. It could also cause more storm surge. Also, you see these points are close together. It's going to slow down, which means more rain. So a lot of concerns going on here with Beryl today. And as a result of those and everything finally coalescing, we do have hurricane and storm surge watches now in effect. A hurricane watch in effect from Sargent, Texas, all the way down to the Texas-Mexico border, all the way into Mexico to Para el Mezquital, as well as a storm surge watch in effect from that Texas-Mexico border back up to Sargent, Texas. So that's worth noting. Again, we'll talk about each of these threats in particular now. The records. New records for Beryl to add to the record sheet. The earliest time that we've reached 30 ace points within a year. The old record was the 6th, so a day or two early from 1933. And the most ace by a storm that was named in June. It was the 1933 Trinidad hurricane. Now, obviously it's a Beryl. We also have the most major hurricane names on for a storm before August 1st. This Beryl made it to 4.5, which beats Emily's 4.25 major hurricane days. All right, let's talk about each of the outcomes that could occur and then how those outcomes will impact the impacts that will occur with the system. So as we can see here, currently tropical storm going to decrease or stay about the same in strength and then increase back in strength slowly over time, where about 2 days from now, it once again becomes a low-grade hurricane and will continue to grow in strength until it makes landfall, at which point it will decrease rather rapidly into tropical depression. So that's what we have there. Again, at this point, we're generally looking. It seems the models are starting to focus in maybe just south of Matagorda Bay is where we're thinking at the moment. And you can see places like Corpus Christi that really need to be watching out for this. Houston, not yet, but if the models do continue to move to the north, or at this point to the east, then Houston, you're going to have to be watching out. And no doubt, Houston's going to be getting a lot of rain as well, 4 to 6 isolated, higher amounts, perhaps to 10 But places like Corpus Christi, Matagorda Bay, we're looking at more like 6 to 8 isolated to 12. And then places particularly near the core of the system, we could see 5 to 10 isolated 15. So again, a lot of rain coming down with Beryl. Moving on again to the storm surge graphic, the National Hurricane Center, again from Sargent all the way down to Baffin Bay, including Corpus Christi Bay, Matagorda Bay. We're looking at 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. Again, landfall probably between Corpus Christi and Matagorda Bays at the moment. And then again, 2 to 4 feet of storm surge from Baffin Bay down to the mouth of the Rio Grande. Of course, probably a little less storm surge by the time you get into Mexico. Further north into Texas, I do expect some sort of issuance to occur there. We'll continue to monitor that as we get closer to a potential landfall if the models continue to trend to the north, or as I've said, potentially even east at this point. As we can see, earliest reasonable time of arrival for winds is going to be Sunday morning over portions of southern Texas, and then Sunday evening, perhaps along portions of central and northern coastal Texas. And so that's where we're looking at the moment, all but guaranteed that we see tropical storm force winds in these areas. And that's really all I have for now. Again, places like southern Texas need to be watching this very closely, need to be preparing for this. Again, generally, that hurricane watch area is right in terms of who could see landfall, let alone the impacts that extend beyond that, such as rain. As I've mentioned, much of eastern Texas will be flooded by this system. And so it is worth noting that impacts extend well beyond the cone, well beyond the center of the storm. But as always, with the core of a hurricane coming in, the worst impacts will be near that center of the storm. The problem is we don't know where the center of the storm is going to be because the storm's motion is so similar to the direction that the coastline face. And so really everybody under that hurricane watch right now needs to be considering the possibility of a landfalling hurricane within the next few days. And you really only have tomorrow to prepare for this. You have the rest of tonight and tomorrow, maybe Sunday morning, depending on how far north this storm goes. You might have sometime Sunday to prepare for this as well. Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow with more information, hopefully a better idea of where this storm might make landfall. That's all for now. Chris Dixon, InfoWeather Media.